A photograph is a secret about a secret. The more it tells you, the less you know. Diane Arbus photographed people that others ignored. Today we're diving deep into the mind of one of the photography's most controversial legends to uncover 7 powerful lessons that will transform how you approach street photography. So open up your mind and let's dive in with 7 things that we can learn from Diane Arbus about street photography and about human conditions that most of us street photographers never discover. Hi, it's Peter here. And the first one is explore the unconventional. I'm very little drawn to photographing people that are known or even subjects that are known. They fascinate me when I've barely heard of them. Well, Diane Arbus sought his subjects from things that he did not know or were not that much known. And one of his most influential work is photographs of freaks. And I'm not saying that those people are freaks. That's the Diane Arbus's words about people that might have been ignored or not being interested by photographers, because most of the photographers at that time were more about photographing famous people, fashion, and all that kind of stuff, because that was fairly new stuff in a way. Of course, people have been photographing famous people forever, but that was still the thing, that usually that was the path to fame, was photographing, celebrities and stuff like that. Every known photographer, mainly have done that. But Diane Arbus took a little different path. Of course, he was also a commercial photographer, but that did not really interest him or her that much. And the second one is let your camera be a license. Photography was a license to go whenever I wanted and to do what I wanted to do. Yeah, photography, or the camera actually, is a very good conversation starter. When you're sitting in a bar, let's say you go out in the night and want to photograph people, you just put the camera on the counter of a bar, and then it takes like 5 minutes, people start asking about questions, and you might start a conversation with them, and maybe you will able to photograph them if that is something that you do. And the same thing when you go walking about and want to photograph people on the streets, and this time it's more about having consent from the people. So it's not the traditional way of making street photographs. Having the camera there open and showing that you're photographing, people mostly don't mind when you photograph. That's my take on that, because it's kind of like a license with the camera. You make contact with the people, smile and nod and ask permissions if that's your thing. Of course, if you want to be more invisible and don't interfere with the things that happening on the street, then this might be a little bit different. But usually the camera is a license to go to places, to photograph different places. But of course, in modern world, sometimes it can be the opposite. It a little bit depends. In most cases, the camera that you have is a great conversation starter, and that might lead you to get some great street portraits. And the third one is confront your fears by returning. Take pictures of what you fear. Sometimes street photography can be a little overwhelming, and especially if you're in a place that you don't really know, that might be a little bit intimidating and all that. But going back to the same places that you've already been many times, that you might feel a little bit uncomfortable, just go back there, because that might lead what I was talking in the previous point about when people get to know you and you feel more comfortable in that particular area. You gain the trust from the people around you. And also if you start photographing more and more, you get more used to it. And it's not that, or you don't feel that much fear if you just continue doing it. And sometimes you just need to push yourself a little bit to get those photographs that you want. And doing it many, many times, you will get used to it. And that has happened to all of us. And I still, in some places, I feel a little bit uncomfortable, but just going back and getting used to it and knowing the surroundings makes it a lot easier. And a few times and you just blend in and you will get those photographs that you're after. And the fourth one is be specific with your subject. I would never choose a subject for what it means to me. I choose a subject and then what I feel about it, what it means, begins to unfold. When you're looking at the scene in front of you, don't just look at the whole or like a wide angle thing. Pick interesting small things from the scene. People that look a little different than others. Maybe they have a colorful coat. Maybe they have something in their hands. Maybe they are acting away. Maybe there are some gestures between people. And look at those. And then you will get a lot more interesting photos than just, a generic street scene where there are people just doing their everyday business. Of course, that could be a document because of the changing times, the changing architecture, the changing cities, and the light might be something special and all that, of course. But then, if we are thinking about that, then we are thinking about the details in the photograph or in the scene. And I think that's a really important thing because if we just take a generic street scene, it might not be that interesting. It could be in a part of a series when you make an establishing shot that could work. But in general, I would avoid these general shots that just show everything. Because as I said at the beginning, a photograph is a secret about a secret. The more it tells you, the less you know. And that's why concentrating on the small things in the scene will make you getting a lot better photographs. And the fifth one is work from awkwardness. Arrange yourself, not the subjects. I work from awkwardness. But that I mean I don't like to arrange things. If I stand in front of something, instead of arranging it, I arrange myself. And this is about not interfering in a way. Like if let's say that you take a street portrait, you don't ask them to pose or anything. Just take the photograph as they are because that's more authentic. If you start posing or telling what to do in a photograph, it's arranging the scene and not arranging yourself. And if you are arranging yourself, you're not getting too much involved in the situation. If you have a group of people that they're walking or talking there and then you get a permission to take their photograph, just photograph and arrange yourself. Don't try to set them or line them up or anything. Just let them be and take the photographs that you want and need. I think that's a kind of like a good approach if we are having the permission and then let them arrange themselves and act as they would naturally do in front of a photograph if that's natural. But you know what I mean. Don't tell them what to do in a photograph if you're doing street portraits. It's a lot more interesting and a lot more authentic. And I think that's one of the biggest thing in street photography is the authenticity. And then the sixth one, use technique to add meaning, not just style. What moves me about what's called technique is that it comes from mysterious deep place. When Diane Arbus said this, she did not mean the settings of a camera. The technique was something that comes within the photographer. And it's life experience that shapes that, emotional wounds that make you sensitive to others' pain, personal fears that drive you to understand vulnerability, unique perspective that comes from your specific life story. So when you take a photograph, and if it's a powerful photograph, all this is inside the photograph. It shows something about the photographer. And I think that's the technique that she was talking about because most famous photographers that are doing street and documentary, they're not really that interested in the techniques or the cameras or the knobs or the other stuff. They're more interested in the person that they're photographing, and also the technique comes from within them and they use the camera to express their feelings and views of the matter that they're photographing or the subject they're photographing. So technique becomes a natural extension of one's inner world rather than a checklist of skills. And I think that's something that I interpret that Diane Arbus was saying. And don't forget that after tip number 7, I will have an extra or bonus tip like I most times have on my videos. And the 7th one is prioritize the person over the photograph. For me, the subject of a picture is always more important than the picture and more complicated. Always remember and respect your subject. So don't exploit, even though Diane Arbus has been accused of exploiting the freaks. What I've read about her in her biography and in the book Revelations, her philosophy is more about giving the people she's photographing a voice, because she didn't want to photograph the celebrities. She photographed people that others would not notice. So she gave them a stage, a voice, and showed that they are important too. The freaks are just normal people that are a little different than most of us. And that's what she wanted to, or wanted us to see, and not shock us. Never forget that the human experience and connection are more vital than the image itself. Photograph should reveal, not diminish, the complexity of a real people. And this is also very important, that it's not about you, it's about them. I think that's what I try to say here, and respecting your subject and giving them the voice like Diane Arbus did. So don't exploit. And then the bonus tip, which might not come as a surprise, is embrace imperfections. And yeah, you might feel, oh, not Peter is talking about the imperfections again. But this time a little bit different approach about the imperfections is that she was not after the beauty. That's what I mean on this occasion about the imperfections. It doesn't mean that you make mistakes in your composition or focusing or stuff like that, because most of the Arbus photographs were technically quite well made, and the compositions were quite common and not something really special or wacky. And I think that's something that we have to remember, that don't go always after the beauty or what do you think that is beautiful. Try to photograph the common thing and something that is not perfect, and find the beauty in that, or the beauty in the decay. And I think that's also some approach that we could learn from Diane Arbus. But of course, this imperfection thing is almost every photographer that I've ever studied and looked at the images. It's not about the technical perfections. It's more about the feeling, how they feel and how I feel when I see the photograph. It's a lot more important than technical perfection. And I think that's the main thing in most of my videos that I say. And if we can open our minds and start feeling when we photograph, we will be a lot better photographers. And here is a playlist of other famous photographers that I talked about on my channel. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.